I just put a pair of fighters in to break the boredom of the coronavirus. Can't see very well with the lighting on this tank, but there's a female half moon steel blue longfin fighter, and there's a black dragon placat as the male. Unfortunately, the colours aren't showing very well. The male has built a nest under an almond leaf. Hopefully this will result in some fry, but the male is a little bit small for the female, but we'll see what happens. So I'll add to this video once I've released the female, and hopefully the male is large enough and old enough to wrap his body around the female for spawning. Only time will tell. This short video clip is taken 2 hours after I introduced the female in the protective tunnel. I've let her out just to see what happens, and the male thankfully appears to be more dominant than the female. He's dominating the female. I was a little bit afraid that because the female was larger than the male, she would dominate him. I'm going to put a spawning mop in just so she's got something to hide behind, because he's giving her a rough time at the moment, and she hasn't anywhere really to hide. His nest is quite large under that Indian almond leaf, so I'm in the fish room the rest of this afternoon, so I'll watch what happens, and if he's giving her too much of a hard time, I'll put her in the spawning tunnel, or the tunnel to protect her, and then try again tomorrow. But so far, so good. Watch this space. It's now approximately 24 hours after the pair were put together and they've been spawning. Unfortunately, this light has an LED light over it and you can't see the colours of the fish. If you look at the light, you may be able to see this blue and also white lights, which I don't like. Anyway, this is the pair's first spawning, and after attempting embraces for over an hour, we're now producing eggs. The reason I've mated these two together was out of necessity really, because I'd ordered a nice blue half-moon longfin male, but because of COVID-19 flights have been delayed, and who knows how long they've been delayed for. So I wanted some young from these females. I have 3 females. This one, which is steel blue, I have a blue, used to be called cornflower blue, and a green. Hopefully there'll be some fried rays from this. So even though there's eggs now being produced, they're very young fish, and I'm guessing it's their first spawning. So one, I don't know whether the eggs are fertilized correctly. 2, the male could easily eat them, so we'll just have to wait and see. You can see the female picking eggs off the bottom as well. She appears also to be putting them in the nest as well as the male, so we'll have to wait and see what happens here. I'm not going to continue very long with this part of the video because I'm sure you've seen the spawning before. It's just a shame you can't see the colours on this male. It's really nice in long light, in good light. Also, the fact that the nest is under an almond leaf doesn't help, so it's shading the light even more. You can see here's the embrace now. Let's see if some eggs are falling. I'm taking this video on an old iPad, so the quality unfortunately is not very good. There's some eggs released anyway. You can see he's picking them up. The female's still in a dazed state after the embrace. And now she's looking for eggs on the bottom. This will go on probably for another hour, and then the female will hide under the mop. She'll be chased off by the male. Normally the male chases the female off before she's empty of eggs, and the female will release the eggs. You can see this is the mop I was talking about in the previous section of the video, just to get the female some cover. I repeat, they're very young fish, so you can see they're not going through the embrace very expertly. Enough for now. I'll take another video hopefully when the fry hatch. That's presuming that the male doesn't eat the eggs. Here's a picture of the pair under better light. It's about a week after they've spawned, and you can see the female's anal fin is a wee bit damaged, and she's got a scale missing on her side. But the damage isn't too bad, considering they spawned about a week ago. There are some fry from the spawning. Unfortunately, it's a very small spawning. I'm going to have to put some antibacterial medication in the tank for the female. You can see the damaged part of her body, the scale missing, but looks a bit white, and I'm afraid if I don't do something she may fungus up. Now the male's come to the front attack, so you can't see his colours. Still a very young fish. The fins will grow a bit more, and you can see he's showing a great deal of aggression towards her. Again, I'm sure if I put them together again they'd spawn. I'm going to leave them another week just to see how many fry I actually get. Let's have a look at the fry tank. If you look at the surface, you can see little black dots. These fry, there's probably, I've counted 20, so maybe there could be 24, 30 fry. This is the second day of them free swimming. The date today is the 4th of April 2010, and I've been feeding them some infusorius and paramecium. So I fed them infusoria yesterday and today, and I've put a few live baby brine shrimp in, and I'll add progressively more as the days go by. If I can get 30, I'll be pleased. But this is one of the smallest spawnings I've ever had from a bigger pair of fighters together. We'll wait till the end of the week, another 4 or 5 days maybe, and see how many there are. Can't see anything. Final look at the parents. The male's aware of the iPad being put up towards the aquarium. Enough for now. I'll take another video in perhaps a week when the fry should be large enough to see on this old iPad camera. Today's date is the 17th of the 4th, 2020. In the previous video clip I said the date was the 3rd of the 4th, 2010. Slip of the tongue. So, 2 weeks on from the fry becoming free swimming, you can now actually see the fry. I've counted them, there are between 40 and 50, so there's more than I originally thought. Can't focus in. Let's have a look at the bottom. Focus isn't there, but you can see they've got pink bellies from eating brine shrimp. I said previously that the pair were very young and inexperienced, so I put them down 6 days later to spawn again, and here's the result. A lot more fry. There's about 200 to 300, I guess, so you can see the 6 days difference between these and the earlier fry. So these were free swimming on the 9th of the 4th, 2020, 9th of April, and and these were free swimming on the 3rd of April, so there's 6 days difference. I'm not going to keep all of the fry. I'll pick about 50 from the 2 spawnings to raise, and the problem I'm experiencing at the moment is that because of the COVID virus, I can't sell any fish to the local shops or give them to friends because of the self-isolating. So my tanks are getting rather full at the moment. Okay, the next video clip I'll take in approximately 2 weeks maybe. I've just moved the fry this morning. They're 4 weeks old from free swimming, and I've moved them to a larger tank. They look like there's going to be a lot of multicolours, which is a bit disappointing, but we'll have to wait and see. It'll be interesting to see how many get the dragon scaling of the father fish. There's just over 50. I'm going to have to cull probably about half a dozen of the runts out, I think. So they were the free swimming fry from the 3rd of April. Here are the fry free swimming from the 9th of April. There's a good 200 here. I'm not going to keep all of these because I simply haven't got the tank space or the market to sell them. So I'll probably keep another 50 out of this spawning, and that will do me. I'll give another update maybe in another 4 weeks time. So that's it for now. Today's date is the 17th of May. So these fry now are approximately 6 weeks old, and you can see there's quite a mixture in colours. You can even see some of the males sexing out. If you look closely, you can see some of the fry have got longer anal fins. There haven't been any deaths at all while they've been in this tank, and I'm feeding them on brine shrimp and some freeze-dried tube effects, and you can see on the glass, you can see just what's left from the feed they've recently had. Quite a few iridescents, some nondescript looking fish as well. Fry from the later spawn. Remember, these were 6 days after the original spawning. These were free swimming on the 9th of April. They've been split into 4 tanks now. Again, you can see some of the freeze-dried tube effects still on the glass. We've eaten all the tube effects in this tank, but there's still some left with this tank of fry. And you can see some of the tube effects, freeze-dried tube effects on the floor. And that's about all for this update. Bye for now. It's now the 31st of May and the fry are 8 weeks old. Today I've had to start separating the males because they were tearing each other's fins. I would have liked to have kept them in this tank with the others a bit longer, but too much damage. Notice the fish here. I don't know if I can point to it. Can you see the colours breaking up? It's just gone behind the thermometer, this fish here. Can you see it? The colours breaking up. It was originally blue, but now it's changing colour, so that's indicating that there's some marble genes from the parents. I'm guessing it's from the male, which was a dragon if you remember, and it'll be interesting to see how many others start to marble. Let's see if this can focus. There we go, separated the males. There's 5 in this top tank. Can you see the fins are torn now? So I wanted to separate the males before there was any more damage. There's another 4 males down here. It's not focusing very well. I move back. It's not very clear, but basically what I've done is use plastic tunnels to separate the males in the tanks. I've just cut them out of Coke bottles and put some holes in for circulation, so there's filtration in the tank, sponge filters. To the top tank there's 2, one either end, and in this tank underneath there's a double sponge filter here. So now the hard work begins. Raising the males is a pain really. So I'll change 50% of the water every 2 days, siphoning each of the tunnels first, and then just taking the rest out of the tank, so there's a 50% topple. Here's the other fry from the spawning, which was 6 days later. Again, a mixture of fry. I've put, well, I guess there's between 50 and 100 fry in here. I had to cull the others because of a shortage of tank space and a small market size. Anyway, that's enough for this section of the video, and I'll update it in another couple of weeks or so, and you'll hopefully see the difference in the males. The fins getting longer. There'll be more males sexing out in here, and they'll have to be pulled out over the next few weeks. That's all for now. It's now the 6th of July, so these fish are now approximately 3 months old. This tank is all females, I think. I think I've separated the last of the males out of this tank. And you can see there's quite a lot of iridescence in these fish. There's that marble female I pointed out in one of the earlier clips. Lots of iridescence, which I personally find quite attractive. It's a new iPad, temperamental camera app, which I don't like. Moving along to some smaller fish, the slightly smaller, the 6 days younger spawning. Here's some of the smaller females I've separated out to give them a chance to catch up with their growth. Moving to the tank on the right, here's the rest of them. There's some males just starting to sex out, which will need separating within the next few days or so. Moving to the males, if you remember in the earlier video clip I told you I was separating the males. Well, there's now quite a few tanks of them, you can see. There's about 50 being separated so far. Quick look, focus isn't going to be very good, but at least you can see the fin development. Some males have better developed fins than others, which is quite normal at this age. Moving down into the horribly lit blue-white LED tanks, you can't appreciate the iridescence, so you'll have to believe me when I tell you that these fish have just as much iridescence as the females I showed you in the opening clip. Just showing you how the fins are developing. Nice development on that fish. Two of my favourite males are in here, the two on the right. You can't appreciate it with the lighting on this tank, but their bodies are almost soot black with a covering of bright blue iridescence. It will be interesting to see how they develop. Moving up with a couple of males in some cut off bottoms of Coke bottles. Just been separated the last day or so. In with a tank of guppies. Moving along, tank full of mainly females. Two more males recently separated out. You can see, where are we? There we are at the top and towards the bottom, a clear shot. There's one or two males in here will need separating out as well. And finally, a tank that's difficult to photograph because it's behind the tub I store water in for my water changes. There's 10 females in here. Again, you can't appreciate the full body colours because they're at the front of the tank looking for food and the light is in the middle of the tank. That's it for this update. Maybe take one final update in about 4 weeks' time, and hopefully I can get the camera app on this iPad sorted out. That's it for now.